Welcome to the 100th episode of Struggle Meals. Today, we're celebrating. We're gonna look back at some of our favorite dishes, most memorable moments, and funniest mishaps. Let's dig in. I'm gonna be making a special meal, my celebratory lasagna with homemade noodles. And we'll be hearing from you, the audience. You've watched the show, you've cooked the dishes, you've grown herb gardens, you've stocked up stock buckets, you've made packet drawers. And because of you, we're here after 100 episodes. Thank you very much. So pull up a seat and get ready for the 100th episode. Life can be a struggle, but a good meal doesn't have to be. We can make creative, nutritious, and inventive dishes that won't break the bank. We'll eat well and save money, because that's what we do. Welcome to Struggle Meals. We're celebrating and making a celebratory meal, a giant lasagna. While my sauce finishes simmering, I'm gonna work on my homemade pasta dough. Right on the counter. These homemade lasagna noodles are gonna make this dish extra special. 4 fingers and create a little well right in the middle of our flour like this. And we're gonna start cracking some eggs right into the well. Start scrambling our eggs right in our little volcano. But once the egg is scrambled, start just knocking a little bit of flour in from each of the walls. You can see the yolk is getting thicker and thicker as I incorporate more flour into it. The yolk is flowing like lava, and that means we can now fully incorporate the rest of the flour into the yolk. It's not gonna run away from me. Try to really fully incorporate it. I don't see any more yolk. So at this point, we can start kneading. I'll keep the bench scraper nearby just in case. Look, it's coming together so nicely. It's all mixed up already. If when you're kneading the dough, it feels a little tough, the awesome thing to do is to go wet your hands and then keep kneading. So I've just wet my hands, and now I'll keep kneading the dough. This little extra bit of hydration will absorb perfectly in the dough and start to create a nice, smooth ball for us. As the ball starts forming, you'll wanna scrape away all these scraggly bits because they'll never get smooth once the ball starts forming. We got a pretty good ball here. It's homogeneous. It's very stiff. When I push it, it bounces back. You see this? That means it's developed a lot of gluten through the kneading process. If we were to roll this out right now, we'd never get thin lasagna sheets because the dough would always be trying to constrict back to its original shape. I'm gonna work on my ricotta filling while we let this rest. Ricotta is not in a traditional lasagna, but it is in my mom's lasagna, and it was in my grandparents' lasagna, so it's gonna be in our celebratory lasagna too. Let's head over to the herb garden and get some fresh parsley. Wow. I've got 2 cloves of garlic here. So the idea here is to take a very simple cheese that melts wonderfully, gives us a perfect amount of bulk in the lasagna, and add flavor to that cheese. Parsley and garlic going in, salt, black pepper, and some freshly grated Parmigiano. I haven't always had a microplane, but over the years, as the show has grown, so have my utensils. But don't forget, I've chopped, zested, and whipped by hand. Like you, I started with the essentials and slowly built up my tools over time. But let us never forget the ultimate struggle utensil, the fork, AKA the Struggle Whisk 7500. Let's take a look. The Struggle Stand Mixer 7500. Struggle Whisk! Yes, this is the pastry brush 1. Citrus Extractor 4000. Give it a little wiggle. You can use the Struggle Food Processor, which is a plastic bag. Hope no one's trying to do any work downstairs. The Struggle Blowtorch 45. Pepper Crusher 9000, AKA a hammer. Struggle Zest is no more. Because I now have a microplane. 87 recipes of struggle meal. We've had a whisk this whole time. Oh my God, this is so much better. Okay, the ricotta's ready. Let's make a bechamel. A traditional lasagna does have a bechamel, and I think it's great because it gives you this oozy, milky, cheesy layer. Very delicious. I'm gonna start by making a roux, which is butter and flour. So I'm melting my butter into a pan. I'm gonna sprinkle in some flour now. You'll see when it comes together, just give it another 30 or 40 seconds or so just to cook out that raw flour taste. So now we're gonna slowly pour in some milk and turn this into a bechamel. Fresh nutmeg. I love nutmeg in a bechamel. You could argue that it's a secret ingredient. Shh. Come in with some parm. This is gonna give us some nuttiness and turn our bechamel into like a fluidious cheese sauce. Got the heat on low. I wanna stir it really well so there's no lumps and no clumping. This looks nice. It's thickened a little bit. I'm gonna shut off the heat. Check it out on the backside of a spoon here. Really pretty. All our components are ready. All we gotta do now is roll out that pasta dough. Cut this in half. Try to pushing it down and just sort of stretching it out as if it were like a pizza dough to begin with. Because we've got a special occasion here, I get to use a real rolling pin. This is looking pretty good. I'm gonna roll out the rest of my dough. In the meantime, we're gonna hear from you, our audience, all of you that tune in every week, make the recipes, and turn them into your own creations.
I want to be a chef, and I like struggle meals because Frankie has good techniques.
I get to be inspired by new recipes that save me money.
I've struggled for a very long time trying to learn how to pare my cooking down. You've taught me how to do that, and in the most delightful way.
I use simple ingredients, but also at the same time teaching you how to use everything in your fridge.
Frankie has taught me to improvise with what I have in the kitchen. I can still make a really good meal out of what I have in my pantry or in my refrigerator at that time.
And you're inspiring me to make food and stuff like that.
I completely binge watch it.
You guys were critical for my wife and I throughout the pandemic. We were really scraping pennies together.
We have done so many of your recipes.
Yep, that's a packet drawer, that sure is.
And how much has Struggle Meals impacted and helped me and influenced me and inspired me over the years?
Quando basta.
I went from being a person who had takeout every day to a person who loves cooking for themselves.
I can cook on a budget, eat well.
Thank you, Frankie, for so many great episodes, and keep them coming.
So I wanted to take this time to thank you for that.
Thank you very much for inspiring me and Struggle On.
And also, I like Drop the Star!
Drop the star!
Drop the star! Never gets old.